Greetings, philosophers. Today we're tackling a tantalizing question. Why do we love? To unpack this, we're bringing together two fascinating perspectives. The existential musings of Jean-Paul Sartre, that French philosopher with a knack for making life feel both heavy and thrilling, and the insights of attachment theory, which digs into the psychological wiring behind our need to connect. Love. It's the stuff of songs, poems, late-night texts, and, let's be honest, a fair bit of heartbreak. But why do we do it? Why do we chase this messy, exhilarating, sometimes gut-wrenching thing? Let's start with Sartre, the guy who looked at life and said, "We're free, and it's terrifying." Sartre was an existentialist, which means he believed we're born into a world without a preset meaning. No cosmic rule book, no divine blueprint, just us making it up as we go. For Sartre, love isn't some mystical force or destiny written in the stars. It's a choice, a project, something we create through our actions. But here's the kicker. Love for him is also a battleground. Sartre thought that when we love someone, we're trying to capture their freedom. Picture this. You meet someone, they're amazing, and you want them to love you back. But deep down, you don't just want their affection. You want to be the center of their world, the thing that defines them. Sartre says this is a problem because humans are fundamentally free. You can't own someone's essence, their being, without turning them into an object, like a trophy on a shelf. And yet, we try. We get jealous. We make demands. We want promises of forever. Sartre calls this a kind of bad faith, pretending we can control someone else's freedom while ignoring our own. It's like trying to trap a breeze in a jar. You might get a moment of it, but it's gone before you know it. Now, this sounds bleak, right? Sartre's got this reputation for being a bit of a downer, but there's something liberating here. If love is a choice, not a cosmic mandate, then it's up to us to make it meaningful. Every time you choose to love, whether it's staying up late to listen to your partner's dreams or forgiving them for forgetting your birthday, you're creating something real. Love in Sartre's world isn't about possession. It's about two people freely choosing to build something together, knowing full well they could walk away. That's the thrill and the terror of it. But let's shift gears and bring in attachment theory, because while Sartre's out here wrestling with freedom, psychologists are looking at love through a different lens, our earliest relationships. Attachment theory, cooked up by folks like John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, says the way we love as adults has a lot to do with how we bonded with our caregivers as children. When you were a baby, did your parents or guardians respond to your cries with warmth and consistency? If so, you probably developed what's called a secure attachment style. You grew up feeling safe to explore the world, knowing someone had your back. In love, secure types tend to be confident, communicative, and not overly freaked out by intimacy or independence. But not everyone gets that. If your caregivers were inconsistent, sometimes there, sometimes not, you might end up with an anxious attachment style. You crave closeness, but worry constantly that your partner's going to bail. Or maybe your caregivers were distant, even cold, and you learned to fend for yourself. That's avoidant attachment, where you might love deeply but keep people at arm's length, because getting too close feels like a trap. And then there's the disorganized style, a mix of anxious and avoidant, where you want love but don't quite know how to handle it. Sound familiar? Most of us can see ourselves in one of these patterns, even if it's just a little bit. Here's where it gets interesting. Attachment theory tells us love isn't just a choice, like Sartre says, but a need hardwired into us from the cradle. We're social creatures, built to seek connection for survival. That warm feeling when you hug someone you love, that's your brain releasing oxytocin, reinforcing the bond. But those early experiences shape how we chase that feeling. An anxious type might cling too tightly, scared of abandonment, while an avoidant might push away to protect themselves. Suddenly, Sartre's idea of love as a struggle for freedom starts to look a lot like attachment theory's dance of closeness and independence. Sartre's all about freedom. He'd say our attachment styles are just stories we tell ourselves, habits we can break if we face our freedom head on. If you're anxiously attached, constantly checking your phone for a text, Sartre might nudge you to stop defining yourself through someone else's approval. You're free to be you, with or without that reply. If you're avoidant, pushing people away to feel safe, he'd challenge you to own that choice and ask why you're so scared of letting someone in. Sartre's not saying it's easy, but he's saying it's possible to rewrite the script. Attachment theory, though, adds a layer of compassion to Sartre's stark view. It says, hey, you're not just choosing to be clingy or distant. Those patterns come from real experiences, often before you could even talk. It's not about blaming your parents, but understanding that your brain learned certain rules about love early on. The good news? Those rules aren't set in stone. Through therapy, self-reflection, or even a really solid relationship, you can move toward a more secure attachment style. You can learn to trust, to balance closeness with independence, to love without feeling like you're losing yourself. Now, imagine Sartre and an attachment theorist sitting down for coffee. Sartre might argue that love's conflicts come from our refusal to accept our freedom. The theorist might counter that those conflicts are rooted in our biology and upbringing, not just philosophy, but they'd probably agree on one thing. Love is a dance. It's you and another person, moving together, sometimes stepping on each other's toes, sometimes finding a rhythm. Sartre would say the dance is only real if both people choose it freely, every day. Attachment theory would add that the steps you learned as a kid shape how you move, but you can learn new ones. So, why do we love? Sartre tells us it's because we choose to, because we're free to create meaning in a world that doesn't hand it to us. Attachment theory says it's because we're built to, and that we're wired from birth to seek connection. Both are true in their own way. Love is a choice and a need, a leap of freedom and a tug of instinct. It's why we write songs about it, fight over it, cry over it, and keep coming back for more. It's messy, it's complicated, and it's ours. If this got you thinking about why you love or why you don't, drop a comment and let us know. Do you lean towards Sartre's idea of love as a free choice? Or does attachment theory's take on our wired-in needs resonate more? Until next time, keep questioning and we'll see you in the zone.